It is our pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker. Meghan Duggan is originally from Danvers, Massachusetts. She graduated from the University of Wisconsin, where she made a name for herself in the incredibly competitive world of women's ice hockey. Who knew her ice skates would be the ticket to traveling the world?
Most recently, she took a quick visit to Pyeongchang in South Korea, where she picked up a wonderful souvenir. As the captain of Team USA's women's ice hockey team, she brought home a gold medal, the first gold medal our country has won in that event in 20 years.
I plan on wearing that gold medal today. Please join us with a warm welcome for Meghan Duggan.
Competing with lunch is always difficult, but I'll do my best here. Anyways, thank you guys so much for having me. Obviously, this is an exciting event to be a part of, so I'm honored to be here. Thank you to Trinity Hall, everyone involved, the board, the head of school, everyone I've been in contact with. Teresa, where are you? In the back there. She's been my main contact in coming here this whole time, so thank you very much. Thanks for the invite and for even thinking of having me. I'm honored to be here, so thank you so much. Couple things, I guess, before I get started. One is I've been traveling a lot, been kind of crazy busy, been all over the place. I don't really have time for anything right now. But yesterday it just so happened it was the one day I had to schedule. I had a 5-hour major oral appointment, surgery, really, I guess I should use the word. So if I look uncomfortable, I probably am, but it all worked out well and no pain or issues or anything like that. Something from a long time ago, I had all my teeth knocked out and just small little thing. So just bear with me, but hopefully no one even noticed, which that would be the best thing. And then the other thing, I'm pretty old school in the sense that I don't have visuals for you guys. I like to just have conversation and talk. I'm a people person. I love when people ask questions and things like that, and I'll certainly leave time for that at the end. I don't usually have notes. I brought a couple right here, but I probably won't even read off them. I go off the cuff a lot. Again, just because I think it's great to be able to read the room, talk to people about what they want to hear, read faces, answer questions. Love to make things as interactive as possible. So I'm definitely going to share my story and a lot of things I've learned along the way, but I want to make sure that if you have questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them, and especially in a room full of really powerful women. I want to know what you guys have to say. I think it helps a lot for all of us to get to know each other and continue to encourage and support each other down the road, but also it challenges me to be better as well. So like I said, I didn't bring visuals, but I did bring something extra special, which I thought you guys might like. And funny story with this also goes along with powerful women. So I did an event a couple weeks ago where I was passing this gold medal around to young kids, 6 to 10-year-old boys and girls. And this little boy, a couple of girls had put it on, a couple of the parents had put it on, and they said, "Oh, it's heavy. It's really heavy. It's a lot heavier than you think." That's what most people say when they hold it. And this little boy, he grabs it. He says, "It's not heavy." I said, "Oh, you're really strong then." And he said, "You probably just think it's heavy because you're a girl." Could have killed the kid. Could have killed him. And it's funny, obviously he was an 8-year-old boy, so I probably would have been arrested, but I didn't think that people said things like that anymore, and it was obviously just a little bit of a reminder that we as powerful women have come a long way, but it's just those small little reminders that there is still progress to be made, that I know everyone in this room who's passionate about leading ladies and women, breaking barriers and kind of leading the charge as strong, powerful women, can appreciate and know that there is still work to be done, and that's why, again, it's so great to be part of a room like this. So I just thought I'd share that story before I started. What I'm going to do while I'm talking, I know you have a lot going on with the meals and everything, but I would love to pass this around. There is a security guard here on watch for the medal, so no one can leave with it, but so just obviously I trust everyone in this room. This means a lot to me. The ribbon will soak in grease if you have like something on your hands, so just be careful of that as well. But anyways, feel free. I've gotten that joke a lot before too. Feel free to touch it, take a picture. I take no offense to anyone that is, taking a picture of the medal while I'm talking. I'm pretty easygoing, as you can tell. I'm excited to be here. So I'd love to just share a little bit about my story, how I got to this point. Obviously, it is a pretty up and down journey and a long journey. And then I'll share with you guys a few things I feel like I've learned along the way that hopefully you can take with you and just think about, especially the 11th graders. This is obviously a very special day for you. And I'll be speaking mostly to you guys as you embark, into your senior year and then beyond after that. But and then I'll certainly save some space for questions and things like that at the end. So, but anyways, a little bit about me. So I grew up in North Shore, Massachusetts. So I know there's probably this is like Yankee maybe territory down here, or Rangers, and I'm a diehard Boston sports fan through and through. But I grew up North Shore, Mass. I've played sports my entire life. I started playing hockey when I was 3 years old, believe it or not. My youth hockey program just had a great learn to skate program. I had an older brother who I wanted to be just like. And I also gave my parents a really hard time, like right out of the womb. I was a terrible, terrible kid. My mom reminds me all the time now that she feels I've grown into this powerful, strong woman. She says, that personality in the 3-year-old was not easy to deal with. So she says that sometimes she just threw me out on the ice with my brother in the Learn to Skate program so that she didn't have to deal with me running around the rink while she was trying to watch my brother play hockey. But I lucked out, and I was really thankful, obviously, that I started playing hockey at a young age, because it's dictated my life in such a positive way, not only through sport, obviously, but just places I've been, people I've met. It's really helped mold me into who I am today. So started playing when I was 3. I grew up in my youth program. I played with the boys all growing up. There were no options for youth girls hockey back then. Now there are countless opportunities. You got a coach here that coaches a U14 girls team, but there's hundreds and thousands of teams popping up every week in the U.S., which is so exciting. Anytime I get the opportunity to go to a girls tournament on the weekend, and there's 100 different teams in the building, I'm just so thankful that it's grown that much, because like I said, I didn't even have a single opportunity to play on one girls team. So when I was 10 years old, it was 1998, women's ice hockey was in the Olympics for the first time ever. The U.S. women's team was named. They went over to Nagano, Japan, and they came back with a gold medal. I remember the entire week. I remember being such a hockey fiend. My parents let me stay up late and watch the games. Obviously, anyone that watched our games in Korea, I can sympathize with you with the time change. It was difficult, but I remember watching those games played in Japan, every single one of them. I got to skip school, stay home from school. Probably not the message I should be giving at a school luncheon, but it was really important to me. My parents knew that. I can picture what the living room looked like, the size of the TV, what the furniture looked like in my parents' house back then 20 years ago, because it was that moment for me that really changed my life, and that's when I started to set my sights on wanting to play in the Olympics and wanting to win a gold medal. So the U.S. team won gold. They came back to the U.S. and they were the little darlings of the U.S. back then. They were on a Wheaties box, and one of the players on the team, her name was Gretchen Julian. She's Gretchen Silverman now. She's the athletic director at the Taft School in Connecticut. And so she came back to an event that I was at. My dad was part of this club in my hometown, and they raised money for youth sports. She was the guest speaker that night there, and my dad said, it was a room full of 100 men, and my dad brought me as his date, which thankful he did. Maybe my mom needed the night away from my dad as well, so it worked out perfectly. But my dad brought me. I got to listen to Gretchen speak, got to hear her story, and at the end she put her jersey on me, put her gold medal around my neck, and I still have the picture. I've seen it so many times in the last 3 months. It's unbelievable, but it was from that day forward that my entire life changed. And I know it sounds crazy, you're a 10-year-old kid, but as I said, I was a really stubborn, tough kid. I have a very strong personality, and when I was 10 years old, after I met Gretchen, I knew that was it for me. That was what I wanted to do. I was going to do whatever I could to get to that point. I wanted to win an Olympic gold medal, and I wasn't going to stop until I got there. I still may not stop. But from then on out, I knew that I needed to align my persona, what I did, with that goal. That was my one mission. That was my why. People ask, what is your why? That was my why. I want to win an Olympic gold medal. So it dictated who I surrounded myself with, where I lived, what I ate, how many hours a night I slept, the social decisions I made, the saying yes to certain things, saying no to certain things, the travel. It forced me to, not forced me, but I made a decision when I was 14, so 4 years after that, I wanted to, if I wanted this dream to go on and play Olympic hockey, I needed to play Division I college hockey, and to get there, I needed to be recruited, so I had to play on a girls' team because no one was going to find me on these little boys' teams. So I looked into boarding school. I ended up leaving home when I was 14, going to boarding school at Cushing Academy because they had, at that point, one of the best girls' hockey programs in the country for high school. So the last thing my parents wanted me to do, I was, the third child, so my brother had gone to college, my sister had gone to college, and here I was. My mom thought she had 4 more years with me, and I was going to boarding school. So signed up to go there. I remember the first day driving on campus, and I was so nervous. My dad pulled into campus, and right when we pulled in, I said, "Dad, you got to pull over." He pulls over to the side of the road. I open the back seat of the car door, and I throw up all over the ground. Talk about like an entrance. And this is like, woo, everyone welcome to campus. It's preseason, so exciting, beautiful September day. And there I am, throwing up on the side of the road. And I remember my mom saying, should we be leaving her? Do we really want to do this? And I looked him in the eye and I said, I want to win an Olympic gold medal. This is step number 1, really, in that process. So about a week later, I remember calling my mom, and I had made the varsity soccer team, and I called her and I said, I want to run for freshman class president. And she said, okay, I think she's going to be good there. She's settled in and she knows what she wants. So they stopped worrying about me. I had a fantastic 4 years at Cushing Academy. It was, as some of you girls know, going to a smaller school. My school wasn't as small as this one, but there's a real sisterhood that comes with a community like that. Mine was a co-ed school, but still, it was a boarding school, and what I learned there, the way I developed as an athlete and as a person was tremendous, and that was, a huge, crucial step for me on my path to the Olympics. Through going to Cushing, I earned a Division I scholarship to play college hockey at the University of Wisconsin out in Madison, and my coach who was going to be out there was, still is, Mark Johnson, who, if any of you know or watched the 1980 Olympics, he was leading scorer in the Miracle on Ice days back in 1980 when the U.S. won a gold medal. So light bulb goes off in my head. I want to become an Olympic gold medalist. Probably not a bad guy to go spend 4 years learning from. So that was a tremendous experience for me. Throughout my 4 years at Wisconsin, I won 3 national championships. I was part of some incredible teams. We were able to really do some amazing things together, and it was a very, very special time in my life. But everyone wants to know, when did you make the national team? How did you become an Olympian? So those are my steps to get to that point. My freshman year at Wisconsin, I was 18 years old. I had been to school for 2 months, and I remember getting a call in the fall of 2006 from USA Hockey. They asked if I wanted to come to my first ever training camp. And I initially thought, it must be, at a junior level, or there's no way I'm going to be going to the big girls camp with the girls I'd idolized my entire life, players that I'd looked up to and, had pictures of and, on my bulletin board in my room when I was a young kid. But no, I got invited to go to a training camp with the U.S. team for the first time ever. And that was my first probably aha moment, where I thought to myself, oh my gosh, hard work does pay off. And it didn't make me want to stop and hang my hat. It made me want to keep working even harder and harder. What more could I achieve? How long can I be on this team? What level can I get to? How many Olympics can I go to? So when I got that call, I went to my first ever training camp in winter of 2006. That was obviously over 12 years ago. And since then, I have been at every training camp, every Four Nations Cup tournament, every World Championship tournament, and every Olympic Games in the last 12 years with the U.S. national team. So it was, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it certainly was not an easy road, and even the last 12 years, being a part of that team has not been an easy road. But like I said, it was something that I set my heart and set my mind to at a very young age, after having a very clear experience, and with my personality and the drive and work ethic I had, not to mention the support I had from family and friends and loved ones. I've been able to live out that dream. So I guess enter main thing number one that I've learned through my career. So anyone that's followed our national team, the Olympic team, I don't know if anyone knows our history or our story. Obviously, she just mentioned it, but U.S. hadn't won gold. Up until about 3 months ago, we had not won gold at the Olympic Games since I was 10 years old and I watched the 1998 team win a gold medal. So my first Olympics was Vancouver Olympics. So after I had made that national team in 2006, I ended up training for those 4 years, going to my first Olympics in Vancouver in 2010. Incredible experience. I wanted to be an Olympian my whole life. I just told you the story. I'd worked to get to that point, but I wanted to win a gold medal. We went into that Olympics and we were playing well. We got into the final. We played Canada in Canada in front of 18,000 screaming Canadian fans. And we ended up losing that game 2-0, and we left Vancouver with a silver medal. So obviously it wasn't the goal that we had in mind, but we are certainly proud to bring that silver medal back to the U.S. After that, in between Olympic years, they call them quads. So you have those 4 years to really regroup and figure out what you're made of, how you're going to go after it again, how your team's going to be better. Some players retire, some new ones come in. So we did that as a team. Within those 4 years, we talked a lot about what we had learned in Vancouver, why we lost, why we weren't able to achieve the goal that we wanted to achieve, and we thought we made, the moves that we had to make. We went into the Sochi 2014 Olympics on a really high note. We had won a ton of games against Canada leading into that. It was my first time personally being captain of the team, and I felt great about our chances. I felt great about the work we had put in. What we had to do to put ourselves in position to win a gold medal. So we get into that game, we're up 2-0 with under 2 minutes to go, and anyone that's a hockey fan in this room knows you got to put that game away. You have to win that game. I think we even got down to about 90 seconds. We were still up 2-0. Canada scores, makes it 2-1. We still have the lead with under a minute. They ended up tying the game late in the third period. And yeah, there's silence in here right now. I know, it's such dramatic storytelling. So they end up tying the game. We went into the locker room. You do an ice cut during the third period and overtime. And I was proud of our team for how we responded in between that time frame. Came out, played unbelievable in overtime. Really thought we could have had it. And anyone that follows our team knows that we fell in heartbreaking fashion to Canada in overtime for a gold medal. And still brings a lot of emotion into me. You can almost see it, but it was utterly devastating. I've been really fortunate in my career to only have one major injury. I've been really fortunate in my life to not have a ton of personal hardship or a lot of major losses. And that loss in Sochi was, to that point, one of the hardest things I ever had to go through, which again, I'm very fortunate that, a loss in a sport can be one of the toughest things I had to go through. But I didn't know, as captain of the team, as someone that, had gone after this goal for so many years and come up short twice, I didn't know where to turn next. I didn't know what to do. I actually took off to Europe for about 2 months in the summer after that. I remember my parents calling me because I kept extending my trip. They were wondering if I was ever going to come back, and I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I would play again. I was utterly heartbroken and devastated, and really had to figure out, not only for myself personally, but being so invested in the team, being a captain of the team, leader of the team, how can we as a team get over this hump? What are we going to do? We have come up short. Since I've been in the program, 2 Olympics in a row, but prior to that, 2002, silver medal, 2006, bronze medal. What is going to help us get over the hump? So the 4 years in between 2014 and 2018, our team really made some incredible transformations. We challenged ourselves in ways that I didn't even think teams could be challenged. Culturally, we made a lot of changes. We changed the way that we played. We changed the way that we talked to each other, respected each other, treated each other. Internally, we just had this huge transformation. But the big thing that I tend to focus on, and one of the main things that I'm going to share with you, the number one thing that I learned is what we had to do as a team, and what I challenged our team with, was to discover our deeper purpose. And what that means is we had wanted this gold medal for so long. All of us had. We've been chasing after it. And no one had ever really asked me, why do I want it so bad? Do I want it so that I can just pass it around this room and take pictures and say, hey, look at me, first place? No. Why do we want to win a gold medal so bad that it disrupts our entire life? So I asked our team in about 2016-17, I said, take the next year to think about what's your deeper purpose. Why do you want to win a gold medal? When we come back and when we get together, when we're training for the 2018 Olympics, we're all going to share this. And we're going to decide as a team, what's our deeper purpose? As a team, everyone had very creative, different things that were personal to them. And then obviously we came up with something that we felt as a group could be our deeper purpose for the year. And really, it just centered around never underestimating the impact that you can have. All of us shared stories I shared my story about how Gretchen impacted me and what that did to my life. And we decided we want to win this gold medal. I don't want to win this gold medal to, take pictures and say, I'm in first place, I finally did it. I want to win this gold medal to change sport, to be able to go into the schools, come to a luncheon like this and talk to young girls who are impressionable and trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And not about hockey and not about the Olympics, but more so about you can be whatever you want to be. This is what I decided to be, and this is how I got there. But never underestimate the impact that you can have on anyone around you. And for us, that impact is on that future generation, that next generation. We truly felt as a team that if we were able to win this gold medal, bring it back to the United States, we would have a major, major impact on young girls, young boys, women, anyone that wanted to listen to our team because we had won that gold medal. And that was, to me, I feel like the number one reason that was how we were able to get over the hump as a team and go from silver to gold. I think we made it not about ourselves, but part of our team mantra was we are part of something bigger than ourselves. And we just followed that motto the entire year. The second thing I've learned kind of goes with it, but the second main thing I've learned throughout my journey as an athlete, throughout the ups and downs of the last 12 years of being on the national team, and that's pretty applicable today, is leadership is hard. It is so hard. And no one ever told me that. No one ever said it's lonely, it's challenging, it's not easy. When you're growing up and you're on sports teams or when you're running a company, you want to be the captain, you want to be the sergeant, you want to be the leader, the commissioner, the head coach. But it's tough. And you need to surround yourself with really strong, tough people that are going to support you in your leadership. And that's not always the case either. I think what I've learned in order to be a productive leader, and don't get me wrong, my leadership's been challenged a million times. I'm not standing up here saying I'm the greatest captain that ever walked the face of the earth. I've had a ton of mistakes, made a ton of mistakes, but been challenged a lot. But what I've learned through different experiences, through, for instance, anyone that has followed our team, again, we were in a very public, social, gender equity, the mouth surgery thing, sorry. Gender equitable battle last spring. It turned into this big public mess. It was all over the TVs, all over the newspapers. Not a mess. We were very proud to be leading the charge on that, and it was something that we took a ton of pride in. But that required a ton of leadership behind the scenes. I could talk about it for days, but the number one thing I learned about that within leadership is communication. You have to communicate on all fronts, even if you don't want to. You have to talk to everyone, whether they're here or whether they're here. You have to listen to everyone on the team because that makes people feel better about where you're leading them. Collaboration, listening to people, trusting, getting people to trust you, being honest, and showing that care and compassion. I just always thought leadership, for the longest time is, I've been around a long time, I kind of know the ropes, I'm outspoken, I'm not afraid to stand up for things, but there's so much that goes into leadership. And once I realized how much goes into it, how difficult it is, And once I was okay with it being lonely sometimes, my mom said to me one time, the movie ticket analogy in leadership. I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? And she said, you might not always get invited to the movie that night with your friends after the day of leadership that you had, but they're going to appreciate you down the line and you'll still be friends with them. So I started to think about that, and once I really just wrapped my head around leadership's hard. It's not going to be perfect. It's not easy. Everyone knows that in this room. I was able to then be a better leader, I felt. And then the third thing, I'll share with you guys what I've learned along my journey, and then I promise I'll let you ask questions. I know I said I wasn't going to talk the whole time, but like I said, I like to talk. So the third thing I've learned, and I think this is huge for the girls, I've had the opportunity to get to know these three at our table, and they all have these big goals set for themselves. You heard one of them yell it out right away when her classmate asked what she wants to be. I want to be a TV writer, and I think that's amazing. As soon as we finished, I asked her, so what are the steps to that? Do you know schools you want to go to? What does that look like? And she has these big goals for herself set, and I think that's incredible. I believe in goal setting. I believe in having intentions in everything you do, whether it's you have the day off and you want to figure out how you're going to live that day, what time you're going to go to the pool, and what time you're going to get lunch. I think waking up and having goals that are small and meaningless, or goals that are incredibly large and you may not ever reach them, is super important. I think that who we are and how we get through challenges is based on goal setting. If I didn't have a goal set for myself when I was 10 years old, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. I probably wouldn't be a 3-time Olympic medalist, one of them gold. But I believe in writing down goals. I believe in setting intentions every single day. I would say, for instance, some of the stories I shared with you about wanting to give up, not wanting to play. But I had that goal, that one huge goal that I wanted to achieve. Also had a terrible injury. I mentioned earlier, I was out for about 16 months with a concussion in between my first 2 Olympics. And again, didn't know what I was going to do. And I remember one day sitting down, my mom didn't want me to play anymore. She wanted me to just stop because I was a mess. But she said, okay, so why do you want to keep playing? What are your goals? What are your intentions? Why do you need to get through this so bad right now? Why are you rushing? And that helped me really just sit back and think about what my goals were, what my intentions were, why I wanted to be patient, get through that concussion process, and then continue on to achieve my goals. So those are the 3 things. There's a million other things that I've learned along the way, but 3 of the main things I thought would be applicable for today. Obviously, leadership is tough. Always have goals and set your intentions, no matter how small or how big, and always have a deeper purpose in whatever you do. In my case, our deeper purpose as a team allowed us to go from silver to gold. And obviously, in any industry that you're in, everyone always wants to. I think the head of school was talking about how last year's speaker, said go from here to here to here. And I believe that finding your deeper purpose and your why, as to really deep in your soul why you want to do those things, will help you continue to climb the ladder in anything that you do. So thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here. As I said, I would love to answer any questions that anyone has about anything. I'm an open book. If I don't want to answer it, I'll find a way around it. I've dealt with plenty of media outlets. So, no, I feel that this room has a great vibe to it, a really great energy and a great aura. I've known that since the second I walked in and since everyone walked in. I think it's because it's filled with women. No offense, guys. There's 2 of them in here. But I think women have incredible energy, and this is a very powerful thing to be a part of, so thank you very much. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, what drives you, and has it changed over your career and throughout the stages of your life, from being a little kid to the high school or the college to now?
Yeah, obviously, as I mentioned, I've had a clear goal set since I was a kid, but I think it's, I have a really, I mentioned her a few times, but I have a really strong, confident mother who was an incredible role model for me, that always pushed me in the right ways, always, held me accountable in the right ways, and I think really created me and helped me grow into, a confident, powerful woman who, when I know what I want, I'm going to go after it. So I'm certainly thankful to her for that. I've had an incredible support system my whole life, and I know not everyone is as fortunate as that. So that's definitely played a huge role in what's driven me and helped me be successful. But like I said, I'm just really goal-oriented, and I set my intentions every day. Part of my routine every day when I wake up, I have a little notebook next to my bed, and I just write in it anything I'm thinking, goals for the day, whether it's get your ass out of bed and go do something, or it's go change the world today. So I'm big into writing. That helps me. I've had this tiny little sticky note on my lamp. I've traveled and lived in 1,000 different places, but it's on a green piece of paper, sticky note, and it just says whatever it takes. And I've had that with me forever. I believe in, if you have your mind set on something, you'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. And it's simple. Obviously, everyone's heard whatever it takes, but if you truly look at yourself and you want to achieve something and you ask yourself, are you doing whatever it takes? Sometimes that answer is scary. For our team, we took it to the next level, and in between Olympic years, we said, you cannot stay the same and expect a different result. So I think that goes along with that, and that was something that we really put our heart and soul into as a group. Yep.
How is the popularity of men's, boys hockey been a struggle for you?
How has the popularity of boys and men's hockey been a struggle for me? Well, I guess not so much a struggle. I mean, I was thankful that boys hockey existed when I was a kid and I was able to play on the team. I don't have any horror stories of growing up playing. I played with really respectful guys that grew into amazing men and are all some of my closest friends. But I think it's certainly, women's hockey, there's some powerful female hockey advocates in this room right now that want to see the sport get to the level where you see it every single day. And when the Stanley Cup finals are going on and the Isabel Cup finals are going on, because it's mainstream like all the other male professional sports. I think that it's, as women, in any industry, anyone seeing wage disparities or popularity disparities, I don't know if that's the right word to use, it's certainly difficult, but I think it's reality, and being able to work towards changing that instead of just struggling with it and not doing anything about it is really important. So you have at this table the commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League, who the league's going into their 4th year. Danny Ryland started the Women's Pro League in the United States that gives women a place to play professional hockey. So that's something that, Danny had a mission and was sick of only seeing the men's professional league, and she started it herself. So talk about going out and doing something, right? So I think as long as we, if we see things that we don't like and we seek to change them and take action rather than just, being upset about them, I think that's a better path. Does that make sense? Yep. I don't know. I mean, I've done a little bit of coaching. I coached in the NCAA for 2 years up at Clarkson University in upstate New York, which I loved. It was a fantastic experience for me. I had a great boss who I learned a lot from, and I really, really enjoyed it. I obviously had a lot of great coaches along the way that I think molded me into the athlete I am, and I'll always give credit to those coaches at each level for dealing with me and my personality at different stages of my life. So I could see myself getting into coaching or sports management or something like that. I believe in sports. I believe in not only hockey, but I just believe in team sports and sports in general for what they do for young kids. I believe in the camaraderie and the teamwork, strategy, collaboration, confidence. So doing something in sport, I imagine, is in my future once I'm done playing. Yeah. Yep. Did being in the Olympics affect my personal life negatively or positively? Yeah, I mean, I think when you dedicate your life to something, obviously there's other parts of your life that have to take a hit. I just chose to align myself with as many good things as I could. I knew I wanted to be an Olympic athlete. I knew I also had to be a good student. So did my social life take a hit? 100%. I've missed weddings, I've missed family gatherings, I've missed Christmas, Thanksgiving, everything. And that's incredibly difficult coming from a big, Irish family that I have. Missing St. Patrick's Day is like a sin in my household. But I think that's part of the sacrifice. I obviously, you need to have a positive social life and surround yourself with positive people, I believe, in order to do great things. So I made sure that I had enough of that. But there's certainly sacrifices you have to make along the way, as anyone can attest to when you're trying to achieve your goals. Yep.
You're an Olympic athlete in between Olympics. How long do you train for prior to the next Olympics? Like, what are you doing in that extra year, 2 years? It's like hockey.
Yeah, I wish there was an extra year or 2 years in there.
And do you see another Olympics in your 2 years?
Great question. So, first question is, we get that one a lot actually. Everyone says, oh, the Olympics are every 4 years, what do you do in the interim? And the Olympics for an Olympic athlete are every single day, without question. I haven't had more than a week off in definitely the last like 8 to 10 years of my life. Haven't had more than a week off in each year, sorry. Not like 1 week off in 8 years, that'd be awful. But 1 to 2 weeks off a year where, when a season ends, I take a vacation, disappear to the Caribbean for a couple days and just relax. But when you get back, it's right back to training. I mean, hockey's a type sport that you really can't take a ton of time off. You have to build in rest and recovery, obviously, throughout your training process. But even when I do take a vacation, I had never let my mind settle down. Always thinking the game, thinking the team, trying to figure out the ways that we can be better. So try to be smart about rest and recovery, but Olympic athletes don't take much time off. And it probably doesn't come as a surprise to many people, but not a ton of time off. And then in terms of me and my future, I don't know what's up right now. I've been, the last 2.5, 3 months have been quite busy. I love hockey. I love playing. I love training, and it's something that I can't ever see myself not doing. There's also other things in my life I'm really passionate about. So I will have to, at some point, I'm sure, in the spring and summer, figure out what I'm going to do with my life. But right now, I've just been enjoying being home, sharing my experience with family and friends, training still, and then we'll see from there. Yep.
What does your training entail? Is it all on the ice?
Not all on the ice. Hockey's an interesting sport. I feel like, and maybe I'm biased, but I think it's awesome because I feel like you have to be good at everything. You have to be fast, but you have to be strong, but you have to be conditioned. And so it kind of takes everything, it puts it into one. It's a really dynamic sport. For hockey, we do a ton of, I would say, like high intensity training. You base it around shift lengths. So, sprint training, go as hard as you can for 30 to 45 seconds, then rest for a little bit and do it again. So circuit training, a lot of plyometrics, jumps, things like that. So off ice, on ice, you name it. Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what happened right after you guys won the celebration, the award ceremony, just that whole experience?
I mean, greatest day of my life, really. It was incredible. It's almost was a blur. I actually was thinking about it, I think either today or yesterday when I was traveling. I was trying to, in my head, think over the timeline of when we did certain things, but as soon as we won, we cleared the benches. I think we spent about an hour on the ice just hugging and celebrating with each other. We were like, I left the ice with my skates on and climbed up onto the cement in the stands, which you would never do with hockey skates because it would ruin them, but I figured I'll get a new pair. I wanted to get to my mom, and I climbed up in the stands. My mom couldn't get to me. There was tens of thousands or how many people were there. And so that was one of the first things I wanted to do. A bunch of us did it, climbed up in the stands, hugged my mom, and then we ended up dragging all of our parents onto the ice to take pictures and things like that. We had the medal ceremony shortly after we won. We do ours right on the ice. So if you watch the Olympics, you see, the Olympic athlete wins, and then later on that night they have their medal ceremony. Ours happens right away. So they bring the flags out, they bring the bronze medal winning team out, and then we stand, and second place team stands, and you get your medals right then. We took a ton of pictures. It took us about probably 2.5 hours after that to get out of the rink. We celebrated in the locker room together, just players, no cameras. And and then we ended up meeting up with our parents after that. They had reserved a spot, this big restaurant where all of our family and friends gathered, and they awaited our arrival, and we just walked in and spent the night with them. So yeah, it was very, very special. and certainly a night I'll never forget. It almost went by too quickly. I wish I could go back and relive the whole thing. Yep. Regrets. I honestly don't think I do. I don't believe a ton in regret, but I guess the one thing I could say was just to go with the really terrible head injury I had. I think I brought it on myself early on because I wasn't patient enough at the beginning to let it heal, because I'm the least patient person you'll ever meet in your life. And so I took a really bad hit, and then I didn't disclose it as I should, and it only made it worse. And I think had I maybe gotten the treatment earlier on and not tried to be so tough about it, I might have not been out for 16 months or so, and I may have only been out for a couple. So I would say that's probably one of the major things that I can think about. But through that process, what I learned about myself was incredible. So I almost feel like I needed to go through those 16 months to discover myself and what was important to me, and look myself in the mirror and figure out how I was going to get through this and stop being so impatient. And I had a lot of self-talk during those few months. So I guess I could look at it either way. I think I needed that time, but I definitely think I brought it upon myself too. Yep.
You know, you mentioned cameras. This is a little bit off topic, but I was curious as to your view on social media. Is it something you embrace and it's helpful for you to get your message out and publicize your sport? Or is it a necessary evil and something that we try to avoid? We all are growing and all a lot of time on social media.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about your experience with it.
Yeah, great question. I think that I think that it can be used for good. I certainly use it, and I've used it as to create a platform for myself. I think it's awful sometimes too, and I've been on both ends. I've been attacked on social media bad, and I think there's always going to be those people out there. Obviously, social media gives them an avenue to say whatever they want and be mean, and not realize that on the other end of the computer is an actual person that has actual feelings. So I've certainly seen both sides of it. I would love to say that everyone uses it positively and it's great, but that's not the case. I think but I do see the positives in it though, I guess. So I see both. I've been a victim to negative social taunting or whatever it is. I'm a strong enough person, and I have, solid inner strength to not have to look at it twice. But I do think it's great sometimes too to spread messages of incredible things and positivity, and allow everyone to see it and be a part of it. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I do see both sides of it. Last question from the boss. All right, you have to pick then, because there's two hands up and I'm not choosing. We'll take them both. You two, you'll be the last two. Go ahead.
You talked about yourself so beautifully, and everything I hear is you have mental toughness. I was born with mental toughness. I see you playing with your mom, sent you out on the ice at 3 years old because you're a tough kid and a tough woman. I have two daughters. One I feel is probably like you were when you were little, mental toughness. And another daughter who I feel like I would like to help her develop her mental toughness. What advice can you give as a mom? Because I would love my daughter to come running in Olympic hockey skates towards me first. And not that I need that, but what I'm trying to say is I want to be a mom that both embraces my daughter's mental toughness and also encourages my daughter's mental toughness when she needs it. Do you have any advice?
Well, what I would say, I guess, is I don't know, how old are your daughters? 11 and 7. So they're young, and the road ahead is probably not easy, and you can there's tough things that they're going to have to come across. But I would say the biggest thing is, for me, why I was able to be mentally tough was because I knew my why, and not necessarily, it doesn't have to be something so big like I want to be an Olympic athlete, but finding their why in a sense of what are they passionate about? What's their niche kind of? Because I tend to see that when someone's passionate about something, when they're involved in something, that's where they find their confidence, that's where they find their mental toughness, whether it's sports, whether it's engineering, whether it's theater. You're going to feel comfortable when you're doing what you enjoy and what you're passionate about. And I would say as the mom is, regardless of what that is, encourage it. Talk to them about that. If they find something that they want to talk to about all the time, even if you don't know anything about it, talk to them about it, I think. And then I guess that would be my advice. And because I think mental toughness and confidence are like go hand in hand, and they are one. And I think you'll feel mentally tough when you're confident. As any of us do. When you're talking about something you know a lot about, you feel tough, you feel confident. I know what I'm doing. Like I can control this room. And so that would be my best advice. And I'm not saying that you need to get on your seven-year-old and say like, what are you passionate about? What's your why? But if they're ever, that's what I would say. Like, let them find themselves in their confidence and their mental toughness through what they enjoy doing, regardless of what that is, and then support it, and let them surround them with other kids that support that as well. All right, last one. Better be a doozy.
So you talked a lot about your personal drive and how hard you work to get to your goal. But you actually had to work as a team and maybe be a leader of a team. But can you talk about one time where maybe you had a specific issue with a teammate or where you really had a challenge, not only to be a leader, but just to say, I want to reach a goal, and yet I have to work with the crew, because no matter what we all do, we all end up working with someone who we struggle with, or we are trying to help with things. You may not like a great teacher, but guess what? At your job, you're not going to love it enough either.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there has to have been instances where you're like, you're getting away my goal.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is seeing it as, obviously it was a goal of mine, but as a team sport, it's our goal as a team. And I think the biggest thing, yes, we've had countless. That's all that happens in women's sports, pretty much. It's a lot of really strong, powerful, stubborn women trying to do something and trying to achieve something together, but you're kind of in each other's way, but you kind of support each other, especially at the national team level. Every girl that comes to the national team is the best player, the captain, the star from their team, where at home or their college team where they have run the show. So yes, it's incredibly difficult, and I don't have it all figured out. We were obviously able to be successful. What I find is communication is huge. It sounds so cliche, but the meetings that we had to have, sometimes you have to talk through everything. Women are so emotional and intense and want to know everything. And so that is number one. And then I think this year was the first time in my career that I realized that, it's okay. Is that your daughter calling? No, I'm kidding. This year was the first year in my career that I realized that it's okay that the path that everyone wants to take to get there is different, and it doesn't mean that path is wrong. So I can say I've been challenged in my leadership in a sense where I've thought, man, like, is she all in? Like, why is she doing it that way when we should be doing it this way? And I'm wrong, thinking she has the same end goal. This girl wants to win an Olympic gold medal, and this is how she does it. Can we have conversations about how it can be best for the team and how we can take our two personalities and work towards the same goal so it's not as combative? Certainly. But I think realizing that when you're part of a team, especially at an elite level, everyone does want that ultimate goal, but they're going to try to get there differently. And I think for the longest time, I didn't realize that. I thought there was, we should be working this hard, we should be doing this, we should be doing that, and it doesn't work for everyone. So you have to pull out the best in people and pull out, realize that how they're trying to get there is important to them and means a lot, and they think they're doing it right. Just because it's different than what you're doing doesn't mean that it's wrong. And it took me a long time to realize that, but I would say that was huge for our team this year. Awesome. All right, Teresa, I'll turn it over. Thank you, guys.
Just what I want to do. Follow. World class. Where's the medal? Okay. Raise your hands if your table hasn't gotten it yet. Oh, man. All right, so maybe we can just kind of pass it because poor Megan has to go. She wants to bring it with her. I'm Teresa Kieran. I serve as the Director of Advancement and Admissions here at Trinity Hall. Can we just all give a really nice warm thank you, Megan. I feel very inspired. I hope you all do as well. When Trinity Hall opened in 2013, one of the things that we realized very quickly as we had freshman students with no one above them, they needed role models. They needed women to look up to because we had no alumni. And so that's why we started this event, the Leading Ladies Luncheon. And I'd like to thank you all for continuing that tradition of being the role models for these young women that we have here today. And so thank you very much for being here. I would like to ask all of our students in the class of 2019 to stand up, please. Here they are. Look at them. Ladies, yes, you are looking at the future right here. I love these girls. As you have likely found in your table conversations, Trinity Hall students are preparing to be the leaders of tomorrow. I have no doubt that these young women will go very far, and we look forward to the day that we can sit side by side with them at this event and maybe even have one of them speaking. So thanks, girls. You can sit down. Our class of 2019 is our smallest class. Our smallest class ever, probably the smallest class we will ever have in our history. Next year we will welcome a class that is nearly 4 times. I think it is exactly 4 times the size of the class of 2019. So you see, we are growing. We are growing much more quickly, I think, than we really truly realized, because we've really struck a chord here. Yet our mission and our message remains the same: to educate and empower young women. We would love to have you all visit our campus. If you would like to come, we've just started construction on our new addition. We will be doubling our square footage, and we will be filling it just as quickly. So if you would like to come by and say hello, if you would like to maybe sponsor a classroom, I promise you your name would look amazing on the classroom. So please don't be shy. The ladies at this table here, our founder, Victoria Gamelik, our founder, Marie Clifford, and Mary Skrillo, our head of school. You can talk to me, you can talk to anybody. But we would be, more than happy to have a conversation with you. And as Mrs. Skrillo, I think she mentioned in the beginning, we are starting a hockey team in the future, nice hockey team. So Megan, we're looking for a coach. I'll put in a good word for you. I'll put in a good word. So some final thoughts. You all have time to share cards on your table. If you don't mind, we have some pens. Lily, who has been doing this amazing artwork this whole time. It's great, right? She would like to use what you've been inspired by through Megan's speech and also from your discussions at the tables. So just write down what, something that resonated with you today. And you can, on your way out, please give them to Lily, and she will complete her artwork. So you can grab those and just jot something down very quickly. You probably didn't miss the Dunkin' Donuts to-go station. We're very happy to have Dunkin' Donuts sponsor a little to-go station, so please grab some coffee. All of these boxes of donuts are closed because we had to keep them closed because, as every girl at Trinity Hall knows, where there's food, the girls love it. Okay, so please feel free to open the donut boxes and take something with you on the way. Take something sweet. We have this nice step and repeat over here with this nice orange backdrop with our logo. You've probably made a new friend or a new connection, or students, you may have met somebody that you'd like to continue networking with. Please take an opportunity. You all look amazing. You all look great. You're dressed up. So please stop and take a picture. Maybe you're going to take a picture with, your mom. I'm going to take a picture with my sister before she goes home. So please do those things. And if you do happen to take a picture, if you would like to share it on social media, we do try to use, Trinity LLL. So if you're on Instagram or Twitter and you want to use that hashtag, it will get shared. And feel free to take some pictures of the board as well. We will be sharing those with you afterwards. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you.